Pick up a standard yellow classroom pencil. It looks so simple, but if we zoom in to that graphite tip and travel backward in time, we find a complex, hidden world bringing it into existence. In everyday conversation, we might say a factory makes a pencil, like it's a single action. Economics looks at this a bit differently. We call it production, a rigorous, highly coordinated process that takes raw materials and transforms them into goods and services that we can actually use. Let's imagine a night watchman named Ravi walking the floor of a pencil factory. In the quiet of the night, he overhears one of the heavy manufacturing machines, we'll call it Sharpie, boasting. Sharpie claims all the credit for shaping, smoothing, and painting the pencils, believing the machine itself does all the work. Ravi has to correct the machine. He points out that someone has to load the wood, mix the graphite, and calibrate the settings. And beyond that, the factory owner, Miss Aurora, had to provide the money to buy the machine in the first place. Without the human workers or the owner's investment, the machine sits totally useless. No single element can create a finished product on its own. Production relies on a deeply interconnected web. A machine, a human worker, and a piece of raw material must coordinate perfectly to create the goods we use every day. Let's look closer at Miss Aurora, the factory owner. In economics, she represents entrepreneurship. She identified a problem, came up with a vision, took on the financial risk, and organized the resources needed to solve it. To get her business running, she needed capital. People often assume capital means cold, hard cash. Money is part of it, to pay for rent and wages, but physical capital includes the human-made tools, the factory buildings, the computers, and machinery like Sharpie that make the work faster and easier. Next, the factory needs labor. This is the physical and mental effort exerted by human beings to keep the production moving, the people operating the machines, driving the delivery trucks, and packing the boxes. Look at this diagram showing a basic unit of labor. A worker without specialized training produces a standard, steady amount of physical output. But economics separates basic physical labor from something much more valuable, human capital. Watch what happens when we inject education and healthcare into this model. When a business or a society invests in specialized training, proper nutrition, and medical care for its workers, it builds their knowledge and health. That upgrade turns basic labor into human capital, visibly multiplying their efficiency and their economic value. We can see this play out in history. Think of J.R.D. Tata, an iconic Indian entrepreneur. He organized enormous amounts of capital and invested heavily in the skills and well-being of his human workforce to build massive national industries in steel, chemicals, and aviation. Capital provides the tools. Entrepreneurship provides the vision and takes the risk. But the quality of the human capital dictates exactly how efficiently and effectively the entire operation runs. Let's strip away the machines, the workers, and the factory entirely. If we go all the way back to the beginning, we are left with raw wood and deep earth minerals. In economics, land refers to everything obtained from nature that helps produce a good. It includes raw soil and water, but also forests, mineral deposits, sunlight, and the wind used for energy. To make our pencil, the cedar wood required fertile soil and reliable rainfall to grow. The graphite required millions of years of geological pressure and deep mineral deposits to form. Because natural resources are scattered unevenly across the globe, geography dictates what a local economy can actually produce. You cannot simply build a successful farm or mine anywhere you choose. Take a look at this historical photograph of agriculture. Tea plantations demand highly specific altitudes, steep terrain for drainage, and exact climates. Geography sets strict rules on where this production can happen. Or consider this image of early industrial logging. Entire timber economies are completely tethered to the natural growth of specific forest ecosystems. The scale of the natural resources shown here is the only reason this local industry exists. Before an entrepreneur ever writes a business plan, and before a single worker operates a machine, the geographic distribution of land sets the absolute boundaries on what production is possible. There is a built-in tension to this entire system. We can manufacture more machinery to increase our capital. We can train more students to increase our human capital. But our natural resources are structurally constrained. Some resources, like the cedar wood for our pencil, are renewable if we manage forests carefully. Other resources, like the graphite, are non-renewable. Once we extract it from the earth, it is gone forever. This structural chart shows how the 4 factors rely on each other. Watch the bottom layer. If we deplete natural resources without care, the foundational layer of the economy crumbles. Without land, capital, labor, and entrepreneurship, stacked on top of it collapse entirely. Modern businesses try to prevent this by adopting sustainable practices, like recycling their wastewater or reducing pollution. They also take on a broader responsibility to give back to their communities, often setting aside a portion of their profits to improve local health or nutrition. This ensures the environment and the society they depend on stay healthy for the long term. Look around the room you are sitting in right now. Your desk, your clothes, your smartphone, every single manufactured object around you relies on this exact invisible economic chain of land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. Next time you walk through your neighborhood, look closely at the businesses around you. Ask yourself how local geography shapes what they do, and see if you can name 3 raw natural resources you have already used today.